Fyodor is hidden in the corner of a courtyard, stuck behind a large pile of firewood. His hiding place is soon discovered and surrounded, and calls for surrender are made. The only response is gunfire. Most of it misses, but a bullet connects and hits Lieutenant Colonel Orbelani. At this point, the town governor orders the grenadiers to open fire. In the resulting firefight, 2 officers are wounded, Velenchuk and Semenov, and the NCO Ednak is killed. Upon ceasing fire, the grenadiers find the body riddled with bullet holes, 2 certainly fatal. Thus ends a failed assassination. George O'Brien is a tourist, making his way to Turkey and Russia from his home of Britain. Unknown to the police is that this man is none other than Boris Savinkov. Underneath his hotel room table is 3 kilos of dynamite. The stench is enough to give George headaches. Erna, known to us as Dora Brilliant, is a bomb maker. She desperately pines for the affection of George, but there is no emotion behind his love. George has an unfeeling view of love, telling her later in April, "Some women are faithful wives, passionate lovers, and good friends, but all of them together aren't with one kind, royal queens. She doesn't give her heart away, she grants love." The target is the Governor General. In reality, he's Grand Duke Sergei Alexandrovich. The plot has 5 members: Fyodor, Vanya, Heinrich, George, and Erna. The 4 men are disguised as carriage drivers and are constantly observing him. Heinrich fights to topple capitalism. Fyodor fights for revenge in the name of his wife. Erna is genuinely just ashamed to live. And Vanya is a Christian who fights in the name of love. Vanya is the moral backbone of the novel. He knows that God and Christ are with him, and he will do all that he can for the sake of love. His philosophy is best understood by John 15:13. "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his soul for his friends." Vanya accepts that he will be given eternal damnation for murdering another, but man must resolve to lay down his own soul for the sake of love. George isn't driven by hatred or malice. He has no pity. He is of complete indifference. But he does know that he must kill for the sake of terror and the revolution. "I believe that might makes right. If I could kill, I would kill all the superiors and rulers. I don't want to be a slave. I don't want anyone to be a slave." Here he lays out his justifications for murder, or rather why he feels that there isn't a point in trying to justify it. Both revolutionaries and autocrats justify their murders by saying they kill in the name of freedom or security, but these are fabrications. They murder because it's effective. Happy is he who believes in the resurrection of Christ, the resurrection of Lazarus. Happy is he who also believes in socialism, and the coming paradise on earth. But I find these old tales ridiculous. And 15 acres of portioned land doesn't tempt me. I said I don't want to be a slave. Can it be that this constitutes my freedom? What pitiful freedom. What do I need it for? In the name of what do I commit murder? Is it in the name of terror for the sake of revolution? In the name of blood for the sake of blood? George refuses the chains presented to him, and his refusal is what fuels his revolution. He will not be a slave unless he must fight, but to what end? Is freedom really enough for him? Erna still loves George, but is fully aware that he doesn't care for her love. He even directly tells her, "Erna, have I ever said that I love you? Have I ever deceived you? Haven't I said that I love another woman? When I get tired of you, I won't lie. I'll tell you. So now, don't cry. I'm not with anyone else. I'm with you." And yet he still notices her imperfections. Here we meet Andrei Petrovich, more than likely based on Yevno Azef. He is a high-ranking member of the committee, the essential body of their organization. He's come with some news. Apparently, the committee was pondering the decision to renounce terror. at least for the moment. Either they end the violence in order to participate in elections in the Duma, or they accept that they will be on the sidelines as a constitution is either drafted or destroyed. George doesn't care at all. All that matters to him is that the governor general is dead, and the opinion of the organization no longer matters. He won't submit. He won't be a slave. Andre resigns and accepts that George won't be stopped. All he can do is hurry back to the station. George wanders around the house of his true love, Elena, and ponders if anything would ever change, even if he saw her. He met her husband the day before, a good-looking man, 25 years of age, an officer. They fully recognize each other. George harbors no ill will nor malice towards him, but his existence bothers him because he's in the way. It reminds him, if a louse in your shirt shouts that you're a flea, go out to the street and kill. A Belgian friend of George's relates a story. While in the Congo, he and his company were stationed by a river, and over the river was an independent kingdom. In the soldiers' boredom, they would begin to fire the men across the river for nothing more than entertainment. In return, any Belgians found on the other side of the river would be mutilated, with arms and legs being chopped off, and even decapitation. The violence was completely cyclical and utterly pointless. The story deeply troubles George. There's nothing that distinguishes their violence from each other, but it also makes something clear to him. It's one of two things. Either thou shalt not kill, and then we're rogues. And if it's an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, then what need is there for justification? The Governor General and the whole public is fully aware that the assassination attempt is going to happen. So much that he relocates from the next show to his Kremlin palace, and people in taverns are bold enough to talk about it openly. Finally, George meets with Elena. They stumbled upon each other while in Moscow. Their conversation is very brief. All I can say is that he is here on the hunt, and that he must hurry. His hurry is solely fueled by her reminding him of her husband. He can't stand for it. George can't do anything but love her. He spends his days thinking about her. Sadly for him, her love is not exclusive, and further, she refrains from accepting his love. She knows that his love can do no good. He lives by blood not because it's necessary, but because he wants to. The plot is solidified, and all that matters is who's throwing the bomb first. For this attempt, it's Vanya. Fyodor and George ideologically find themselves somewhat at odds. Fyodor, when he sees the well-dressed, can only see exploitation. He worked for a single silver ruble a day, while people stroll in outfits worth many hundreds. Seeing this frustrates him, and he wishes only to throw a bomb and teach these people a lesson. The working class are actively dying, children beg on the street, while the rich ignore it. Society is tremendously unfair. The whole of it might as well die. To George, this is nothing but anarchism. Fyodor left a meeting at Sue Confectionery, and unknown to him, he was being followed. Luckily, George left right after and noticed the presence of 3 detectives. Fyodor was able to get a fast cab before any of the detectives could catch up with him, but George now had to evade the other detectives who were after him. After ducking into side streets and blending into crowds, he finally saw Vanya in his carriage and made off immediately upon reaching him. The day following, he meets with Fyodor again and tells him that they are being followed closely, which Fyodor is reluctant to believe, until George points out multiple individuals from the day before that were once again watching them. This time, they run away together and they escape with the help of an unknown cab driver and a helpful 10 ruble tip. All they can do at this point is give up and wait for the heat to cool down before they can try again. 6 weeks have passed, and the authorities think the worst has come to pass. George can't rest, only he isn't George. He's become Frol Semenov Titov, merchant son from the Urals. Frol is now the revolutionary who can't sleep at night because he is obsessed with his target. Every thought belongs solely to the Governor General. Andrei Petrovich has returned, and with him news. The Duma was forcibly dissolved by the Tsar, and so the violence and terror must intensify. Even this means nothing to Frol. He has no intention to intensify anything. There's nothing he can intensify. He is already fully devoted to terror. A real attempt is made against the Governor General's life. Exactly 8, Vanya is at Spassky Gate, and Fyodor at Trinity, and Heinrich at Borovichi. Vanya and Fyodor don't see him, and Heinrich fails to throw his bomb. He can't make the leap to kill for the sake of ideology. Heinrich is fully devoted to his beliefs, and he knows that the terror is necessary, and thus he must engage in it. But as much as he calls for it, talks about it, and wishes for it, he can't do it himself. Frol notices that maybe the only reason Heinrich ever places faith in terror is because of him. Erna and Frol's relationship is further muddled as his lack of love is fully displayed. He reiterates his love for another woman, but Erna still clings to him. Love whomever you wish. I can't live without you. I'll love you forever. He wants to dismiss her, but he can't, or rather, won't. Today is the day terror will be carried out. Just after 2 o'clock, the 5 once again meet and distribute bombs. Failure cannot happen again. Fyodor is at Stolnishkov Lane. After sitting down at a cafe, Frol notices after a few moments a heavy and a full burst of sound. A large crowd immediately rushed down Stolnishkov Lane, and amongst the chaos, Frol hears a sentence. The Governor General's been killed. Frol made his way through the crowd to the blown-up carriage, completely destroyed and unrecognizable. Just as he tries to push through the final wave, he hears gunshots coming from a nearby street, and he knows that it must be Fyodor. Bullet after bullet rang out, but they're all for naught. The Governor General survived. Fyodor will die, believing that he has done his greatest deed, when in reality he's changed absolutely nothing. The terrorists are grasping at straws. Heinrich has all but given up. It doesn't matter. The Governor General must die. Fyodor's death has emboldened Frol. There is no decision but to keep moving forward. Frol brings up a nonsensical plan to blow up the governor's whole state. To him, it makes sense not to strike out on the street again. Vanya refuses to entertain the idea. To blow it all up would mean killing both the governor and his family, his wife and children, and that is something he cannot do in good conscience. Frol backs down and agrees to another attempt on the street. They found another opportunity and they prepare to beat their posts exactly 3. The sky is dark and cloudy, rain intermittently sprinkles, and the leaves are starting to yellow. Frol strolls around watching detectives and spies on the lookout for them. After half an hour of waiting for the carriage, he sees on Tverskaya near Vargan's house the rising of yellow-gray smoke. At the same time, an all too familiar rumbling of the ground. He rushes to the scene, but it's not necessary. He's already certain the deed has finally been done. An hour later, an extra edition of the newspaper comes out with a fresh obituary notice and disturbing news. Vanya still lives. The next day, they receive a letter from him, speaking of the incident before it occurred, of seeing the man's face clear as day, and hoping that the explosion killed him too. Vanya is lucky. He was burnt and bloody, been in a far better condition than the mutilated pieces of the Governor General. Both Frol and George are gone. Savinkov now lives as a ghost. He can't escape from Moscow. The police won't give up their search. All he can do now is wander around the city and come nightfall sleep on either the streets or risk a hotel. Vanya is being tried, but the answer is already known. He will be hung. Today, Erna leaves. He wants to greet her with love and joy, but all he can do is remain silent. He studies her one last time, taking note of how she's thinned and faded, of how her breast heaves as she breathes fitfully. He knows that she will speak of love, but there's no love left in him. As Erna recognizes this may be the last time they ever speak, she cries. Savinkov laments. Her eyes have turned red, and copious tears are streaming softly down her face like water. She shakes her head unattractively. She sobs and whispers incoherently, swallowing her words. All he says is, "Don't cry." Heinrich still remains in Moscow. It's so apparent that he loves Erna and truly believes in his love. It's amusing and annoying, according to Savinkov. Andrei Petrovich has again returned. He's quite happy to see Savinkov, congratulating him on good work, while highlighting how concerned he and the party were over his continued failures, and how they wanted his dismissal. But it doesn't matter anymore. Terror must go on. The committee has decided to go after the Minister of Justice. That's great, but even terrorists need a break. Savinkov will stay in Moscow for a while longer. Apparently, he has business to attend to. Yesterday, Vanya died. Even Savinkov can't accept it. Vanya believed in Christ. I don't. What's the difference between us? We all live by deceit and blood. In the name of love, Christ ascended Golgotha. He didn't kill, he gave people life. He didn't lie, he taught people the truth. He didn't betray. He himself was betrayed by a disciple. So it's one of two choices. Either the path to Christ, or, as Vanya said, Smerdyakov. In that case, I am Smerdyakov. I know. Vanya's death is sacred. His last truth was in suffering. That holiness and that truth are inaccessible to me, incomprehensible. I will die as he did, but my death will be dark, because there is wormwood in bitter waters. Elena meets Savinkov again. He wants to be happy. She wants him to be happy. He can't be happy, though. He loves her, but he is disturbed by her husband's existence. She doesn't care. It makes no difference. Right now, she's with him. Savinkov wants eternal and exclusive love, but that's not for her. She can't believe that's even possible to love forever singularly. Savinkov doesn't want to share and simply won't. Heinrich is finally leaving for St. Petersburg to join Erna. His eyes now sparkle and he remains lively. He and Savinkov sit in a tavern. Fyodor and Vanya used to join them there. Heinrich is interested in the revolutionary news and how their act is being framed as a turning point in Russia. Everyone has seen their strength. Savinkov is uninterested. He pushes it aside, says it's not worth it. A newspaper article is essential. Propaganda for terror is necessary. Let the masses understand. Let the idea of struggle penetrate the countryside. Savinkov is bored with this line of thought. He instead brings up Heinrich's love for Erna. He feels embarrassed speaking about it. Heinrich believes that Savinkov still cares for her. Instead, Savinkov wishes them luck and tells them bluntly, "Me, love Erna? What are you saying? Certainly not. I've never loved her." Suddenly, it's all extremely funny. I love, she loves, he loves. What a tedious tale. Elena and Savinkov still struggle. She just wants him to be happy, but all he wants is her hand in marriage. It It's simply foolish. She tells him, don't live, don't love, and don't think. There's a prohibition for every day. It's ridiculous and foolish. Why must I love one person? Further, she asks, you don't know either. Have you never loved anyone else? He feels awkward. He's loved before, and he's never cared much for laws. She's repeating his words, but now feels like a stab in the gut. All he can do is beg her to make a choice. But she tells him decisively, I love you, George, but know that I will never be your wife. Today he crossed the Kuznetsky Bridge. It was foggy out, but he soon saw a spot thicken in the fog. It was an officer. He glanced over and immediately stopped. They recognized each other. It was Elena's husband. You could see the anger in his pupils. They walked along Tverskaya Street in complete silence, soon emerged into a park, and they began to wander into the deep and overgrown thicket. They both know why they're here. They will kill each other for Elena's love. They prepare their weapons, say their last pieces, and get into position. Savinkov raised his revolver, took aim at a button on the man's coat, and waited for him to count to 3. Immediately, a flash of yellow flame and a cloud of white smoke. He walked through the grass and leaned over the body. The man was certainly dead. He began to walk without aim. Up to this point, Savinkov had murdered in the name of terror, but now he's killed for himself. He wanted to kill and did so. Who will come to me and say with genuine faith, thou shalt not kill? Who will dare to throw a stone? There's no distinction, no difference. Why is it all right to kill for the terror, necessary to kill for the fatherland, but for oneself impossible? Savinkov has walked a difficult path. There is no end nor rest. Blood begets blood. Vengeance lives by vengeance. Today he read a newspaper, and by chance he read a small section that stated, last night the police entered the Grand Hotel with a warrant for the arrest of Madame Petrova, a lady who resided there. In answer to a demand to open the door, a shot was heard. When the police broke in, they found the still warm body of the suicide on the floor. Petrova was the assumed name of Erna. He finally flees Moscow. He takes a train up to St. Petersburg and watches the beautiful Neva crash against its granite banks. Savinkov no longer wants to participate in terror. He can no longer see a reason to engage in it. He no longer sees a reason to engage with anything. Suppose Christ has illuminated the world with his word. I don't need serene light. Suppose love will save the world. I don't need love. I'm alone. I will leave the tedious puppet show, and if a temple opens its door to me in heaven, even then I will say it's all vanity and lies. When the stars come out, autumn night will fall, and I will say my last word. My revolver is with me. Thanks for watching, and remember, don't listen to terrorists.